Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Sundar Bihari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Jaya Giridharadhari Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Bhajana Dhananjana Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Bhajana Dhananjana Jaya Jamuna Tiramisari Jaya Kunjabihari Jaya Jamuna Tiramisari Jaya Kunjabihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunjabihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunjabihari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Shabad Paramahansa Parivakacharya Sutta Sasinadhi Saripalya Satamaka Goswami Shri Guru Shabad Paramahansa Parivakacharya Sutta Sasinadhi His Divine His Bhaktivedanta Swami Shri Prabhupada Srimad Bhagavatam ki Mahapuran Shri Mahapuran Shri Bhagavatam ki Jai. All those summer duties, all of the summer duties, all of the summer duties, all those goes to Shri Guru Jai. So we'll start with the reading of Srila Prabhupada. Shama, if you can share the screen, thank you. Okay, yesterday we left with that was going on every evening so long he stayed in Jagannath Puri. Reading from Srila Prabhupada Lila Mitra, Volume 1, and the title of this chapter is New Jagannath Puri. Srila Prabhupada ki is Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki. Reading on page 647, New Jagannath Puri. The devotees understood that there was a great difference between themselves and Swamiji. He had never been a hippie. He wasn't at home amid the illusion of hate, Asbury, LSD, psychedelic posters, rock musician, hippie jargon, and street people. They knew he was different, though sometimes they forgot. He spent so much time with them every day, eating with them, joking with them, depending on them, but then sometimes they would remember his special identity. When they chanted with him in the temple before Lord Jagannath, he, unlike them, would be thinking of Lord Chaitanya's kirtan before Lord Jagannath in Puri. When Lord Chaitanya had seen Jagannath, he had seen Krishna, and his love for Krishna had been so great that he had gone mad. Prabhupada thought of these things Prabhupada thought of these things to a degree far beyond what his disciple could understand, and yet he remained with them as their dear friend and spiritual instructor. He was their servant, teaching them to pray like him to be able to serve Krishna. O Lord of the universe, kindly be visible unto me. Govindasi had a question for Swamiji. He had mentioned briefly that Lord Chaitanya used to cry in separation from Krishna and had once even thrown himself into a river crying, "Where is Krishna?" She was unsure whether her question would be proper, but she waited for an opportunity to ask it. One evening, after the lecture, when Prabhupada asked for questions and there were none, Govindasi thought, "This is my chance." But she hesitated. Her questions wasn't on the subject of his lecture, and besides, she didn't like to ask questions in public. No question? Prabhupada looked around. Govindasi thought Swami seemed disappointed. There were no questions. He had several times that they should ask questions and clear up any doubts. Again, he asked, "Have you got any questions?" Govinda said, "Oh, well, could you tell about Lord Chaitanya asking Prabhupada, Govinda said, asking, where is Krishna? Prabhupada, Govinda said, could you tell about Lord Chaitanya asking, where is Krishna and falling in the river? Or would that be not? Prabhupada smiled. Yes, very nice. Your question is very nice. Oh, I am very glad. Lord Chaitanya, he was the greatest symbol of Krishna Bhakti, a devotee of Krishna. So just see from his life, he never said that I have seen Krishna. He never said, I have seen Krishna. He was mad after Krishna. That's the process of Chaitanya philosophy. It is called viraha. Viraha means separation. Separation, Krishna, you are so good, you are so merciful, you are so nice, but I am so rascal, I am so full of sin that I cannot see you. I have no qualification to see you. So in this way, if one feels the separation of Krishna, I want to see you, but I am not. I'm so disqualified, so that I cannot see you. This feeling of separation will make you enrich in Krishna consciousness. Feeling of separation. Not that Krishna, I have seen you, finished. All right, I have understood. You've understood you, finished. All my business finished. No. Perpetually think of yourself that I am unfit to see Krishna. That will enrich you in Krishna consciousness. Mataji, I'll stop there. Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Lord Jagannath Bhagavan ki jai. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai. So we'll today's verse. Mataji, you can share the verse for us. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Shkatam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayadadayat Nastaprayasu Bhadrayasu Nityam Bhagavata Sevayaya Bhagavad Yuktam Sloke Bhakti Bhajahitaki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 30, verse number 21. Maitreya Vacha Evam Brahmanam Purushartha Bhajanam Janardanam Prajna Jalaya Prasistasa Tat Darshanam Vivastatamo Rajamala Girgira Gadaya Suhitamam Maitreya Vacha Evam Brahmanam Purushartha Bhajanam Janardanam Prajnalaya Prachetasa Taddarsnam Pustatamo Rajamala Giragaram Gadgadaya Suhittamam Maitreya Evam Bhuvanam Purushartha Bhajanam Janardanam Prajnalaya Prachetasa Taddarshanam Pustatamo Rajamala Giragaram Gadgadaya Suhittamam. Anybody else like to recite? Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhu Dandavat Pranam.
Welcome, thank you.
Maitra Uvacha Evam Brunanam Purushartha Bhajanam Janardana Prananjalaya Prachetasha Taddarshanam Drishtva Tamo Rajo Mala Giri Grinan Gadgadaya Shuruttamam. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. I'm also trying.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Maitreya Uvacha Evam Bhruvanam Purushartha Bhajanam Janardanam Pranjalayaha Prachetashaha Taddarshana Dhastatamo Rajo Mala Giragiran Gadgadaya Shurittamam.
Thank you, Prabhu. Anybody else?
Ji Dandavat Pranam.
Janna from Madhya, go ahead. Thank you.
Maitri Uvacha एवं ब्रुवाणं पुरुषार्थभाजनं जनार्दनं प्राञ्जलयः प्रचेतसः तद्दर्शनध्वस्ततमोरजोमला गिरा गृणन् गद्गदया सुरीतमम्. Hare
So,
Krishna.
thank you. Anybody else will try to try? If not, then we'll go to synonyms. Anybody would like to do the synonyms? Okay, I'll read the synonyms. Maitreya Vacha, Maitreya said, Evam, thus, Bhuvanam, speaking, Purusha Sartha, of the ultimate goal of life, Bhajanam, the bestower, Jana Ardhanam, who takes away all the disadvantages of the devotee, Prachanalaya, with a folded hand, Prachetasa, the Prachetas brothers, Tat, him, Darshana, by seeing, Dvastha, dissipated, Tama, of the darkness, Raja, oppression, Mala, whose contamination, Gira, with the voice, Ankaram, offered praise, Gadgadaya, faltering, Surit Tamam, unto the greatest of all friends. Anybody would like to do the translation?
Can I read, Prabhu? Hare
Yes,
Krishna.
go ahead, man. Thank you.
The great sage Maitreya said, after the personality of Godhead spoke thus, the Prachetas began to offer him prayers. The Lord is a bestower of all success in life and is a supreme benefactor. He is also the supreme friend who takes away all miserable conditions experienced by a devotee. In a faltering voice, due to ecstasy, the Prachetas began to offer prayers. They were purified by the presence of the Lord, who was before them face to face. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you so much, Mati. Anybody who would like to read the purport?
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The Lord is herein described as Purushartha Bhajanam, the bestower of the ultimate goal of life. Whatever success we want in life can be attained by the mercy of the Lord. Since the Prachetas had already attained the Lord's mercy, they were no longer subject to the contamination of the material modes. The material modes dissipated from them just as the darkness of the night immediately dissipates when the sun rises. Because the Lord appeared before them, naturally, all the contamination of the material qualities of Rajas and Tamas completely disappeared. Similarly, when an unalloyed devotee chants Hare Krishna Mahamantra, he is also purified of all material contamination because of the name of the Lord. And the Lord are identical as stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.17. Shruvatam Shrikata Krishna Punna Sravana Kirtana Hridayantastahi Avadrani Vidunati Shudipsatam. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is Paramatma, Super Soul, in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotees, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotees, who has developed the arch to hear the messages which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. The holy name of the Lord is the Lord Himself. If one chants and hears, he becomes purified. Gradually, all material contamination disappears. The Prachetas were already purified due to Lord's presence before them, and they could therefore offer their proper prayers with folded hands. In other words, as soon as the devotees are engaged in devotional service, they become transcendental to all material contamination immediately, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Sa Gunan Samatetitan Brahma Bhuya Kalpate. Sometimes the devotees are dissatisfied due to they are not seeing the Supreme Personality of Godhead personally. When the Prachetas saw the Supreme Lord personally present, their unhappiness vanished. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhu, for a wonderful reading of the purport. So, Prabhupada ki jai. Om Jnanatamidasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshuramitamina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manodistam Vandeham Sri Guru Sheta Padakamalam, Sri Guru Vishnu Cha, Sri Rupam Sagatam Sahagana Ragunatam Tam Tam Sajivam, Sadvaitam Savabhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam, Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakalatam Cha, He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate, Gopisa Gopisa Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vindavani Vrishabhanu Sadade Pranaman Karipiya. Vancha Kalpatarubesha Kipasindevesha Tidan Pavnivyo Vishnavivyo Namo. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhatanda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shamadhama Krishna Goswami Nami. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shamadhi Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nami. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Chani Shesha Shaniwadi Prashyata Desai. So once again, dear devotees, welcome to this morning session. So we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 30, Text 21. So a bit of recap. I think yesterday, Madha Govind Prabhu and the previous speakers, Sri Krishna Prabhu and other speakers, gave a wonderful recap of what's happening before this verse. Just to get everything in perspective, just like to briefly recap what's happening. So this chapter is headed the activities of the Prachetas. We've seen the previous chapter, King Prachinda renounced his kingdom after being enlightened by Narada. Narada's whole study is when he saw that the father of the 10 Prachetas was engaged in fruitive activities, even sacrifice animals. He felt guilt, he felt great compassion, and then he instructed King Prachinda through an allegory of the and even after that he didn't understand, and then because the great mercy of Narada, he again gave another analogy and became enlightened, so much so that the king immediately left his kingdom, renounced everything, and went for tapasya. This is the glory and mercy of Narada. Even before the 10 Prachetas returned from their austerity, the king gave his kingdom in charge of the ministers, and he left. And it's such a transformation when he was doing such intense fruity activities, sacrificing animal to the point he renounced everything, and just by induced by instruction of Narada, and he renounced everything. So we see here, so this conversation between Maitreya Muni and Vidura. Vidura is asking Maitreya, so what happened after the king left? What happened? What did the Prachetas achieve? In the previous chapter, Vidura already had the Prachetas perform 10,000 years of study under the sea, and then by the instruction of Lord Shiva, and they chanted the Rudra Gita. So Vidura was very inclusive. So what happened? What did they achieve? I mean, there's an intense study for 10,000 years. So here, in this chapter, Vidura is being told by Maitreya Muni what is happening. So in this verse, we see when the Prachetas came out of the water after 10,000 years, the Lord was extremely pleased with their austerity, and he gave them personal darshan. He came out on his birch carrier, and in his tent, in 800 form, and the Lord was present really immediately after them. In the previous verses, we saw the description of the Lord is so personal. The way he carries his weapons, the way he was dressed, what he was wearing, how he was smiling. Such a detailed description of the Lord. And the Lord was so pleased that before the 10 preachers asked for his darshan, he just appeared. So why the Lord was very pleased, and previous speakers already mentioned about this, there are two main points. The Lord was very pleased because they had a very friendly relationship among themselves. They are 10 brothers, they were of the similar nature. In any personal relation, if you're like your sibling, one brother, two brothers, three brothers, sisters, there's going to be some differences, maybe a bit of squabbling. But the Lord was so pleased that all the 10 Prachetas had the same sort of mentality, and they were very friendly amongst themselves. So he was very pleased. They are also doing one occupation, devotional service. They were engaged in one pointed service to the Lord. And then they had mutual friendship, and they were very, very obedient to the instruction of the Father. So this really pleased the Lord, and he was, even before asking for benediction, the Lord started giving the 10 Petrus benediction. Just imagine, without asking for, the Lord appears and give darshan and start giving the benediction. So what is sort of benediction the Lord gave them? Fame, and in future, very famous son will appear. And then he also gave suitable wife who was full of strength, and also gave them long life without entanglement in the material life. He said, but they will not be affected by ruling the world, universe, for 1 million celestial years. That's a very, very long time to be material life. So sometimes you might think, why the Lord gave this benediction? But then the Lord gave another benediction, that by doing all the activities and offering to Krishna, the Lord himself, they will be not entangled in the material world. There will be no contamination. So the Lord was very pleased, and he gave this wonderful benediction. And then the Prachitas were struck with wonder. And when the Lord appeared, when he gave these benedictions, the Prachitas start glorifying the Lord. So this is the first verse, and in this verse, the Prachitas are not directly giving the glorification, but we see the glorification being given being told to Vidura by Maitri Muni. So Maitri Muni is extremely pleased. He said, when the Lord appears, the 10 sons of the Prachina Brahmana were so awestruck. They got Gadaya. They with faltering voice, they started offering the prayers. So in the prayers, there are three very important words when the Lord started appearing, when the Prachina started offering the prayers. But before that, Maitri Muni says they give the Purushartha. So what are these Purusharthas? There are 4 Purusharthas. We know Dharma, Artha, Kam, and Moksha. But beyond this Purushartha is a Pancham Purushartha, which is the love of Godhead. The Purusharthas are a goal of life given in the Vedas. So for a fruitful life, I just like to share a screen. We are in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antya-lila, chapter 7. The Lord gives the benediction. They mentioned about the Purusharthas. Yes, I'm sharing screen. Just give me 1 minute. Not sure why it's not coming, but there's a verse. Screen sharing. Anybody see? No, you can't see the screen sharing. Okay, it's not working. Anyway, I'll try again. Let me just be with me for a while. Screen sharing. Share screen. Screen sharing.
Prabhuji, what page you are trying to show? I mean, in that case.
This is Chaitanya Charitamrita,
Uh-huh.
Antilila, chapter 7 and verse 24.
34?
24. Just
24. Let me try.
I tried it before I started classes. First time I was doing screen sharing on the phone. 1 second. Share device again.
Well, I can share it if you like.
Yes, Prabhu, thank you.
So,
yeah, this one. Thank you, Prabhu. So this is about Purushartha in Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 7, text 24. Tate Prema Bhakti, Purushartha Siramani. Raga Marge Prema Bhakti Asargakya Jani. Prabhu, can you move our screen up? Yeah.
So, Prabhu, is it the right place or?
It's the right place, but can you move a bit up?
Bit up.
Yeah, I mean, translation and purpose.
Oh, translate. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So here, Lord Chaitanya is saying, through the mercy of Ramana Rai, I have understood that aesthetic love of Krishna is the highest goal of life, and the spontaneous love of Krishna is the highest perfection. Purpose. Can you move down a little bit? Yeah. So in this Purushartha goal of life generally refers to region, economic development, satisfaction of senses, and finally liberation. Above these 4 kinds of Purusharthas, the love of God stands supreme. It is called Param Purushartha, the supreme goal of life, or Purushartha Siramani, the most exalted of all Purusharthas. Krishna is worshipped by regulative devotional service, but the highest perfection of devotional service is spontaneous love of Godhead. So in this Chaitanya Charitamrita verse, the Lord is explaining that above the 4 Purusharthas, which are normally given in the Vedas, the highest Purushartha is the love of God, the ceremony. Okay. Because the Purusharthas are normally given in the Vedas for progressive life from dharma, artha, kam to moksha. Moksha means liberation. So above this is the love of God. So this is Pancham Purushartha. So first, the Lord is giving the Pratisas are glorifying the Lord. Say this is the Purushartha is giving the goal of life. Then the Pratisas are describing the 3 qualities, 3 benediction they are receiving. First benediction, they say it's the best of bhajanam, best of all success. And then he says supreme benefactor, jana adanam. And then he says supreme friend, suhat tamam. The persons are so struck by the Lord presence. In the 14 ways, they describe the Lord's mercy as the supreme friend, supreme benefactor, and best of all success. So this is similar to what we see in the Bhagavad Gita 5:29. This is the success formula. As you know, please check verse 5:29. In the end of chapter 5, Krishna in the karma yoga, Krishna instructs Arjuna, says, Bhaktanamajana tapasam sarva loka maheshwaram suhazam sarva bhutanam vyapa mam santim shiti. A person in full consciousness of me, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities, the supreme lord of all planets and demigod, and a benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attain peace from pangs of material miseries. So here the Lord is giving his supreme benediction, how to achieve peace in the material world. So the Prachita is quite impressed. So the Prachita is saying, you are the best friend, the best benefactor, and the well-wisher of the Lord. So it's very similar to what we see here in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 5, verse 29. He said, Lord Krishna is the beneficiary in all human activities. So Krishna is the Bhaktan Ajanta. He is the enjoyer of all the opulences. And he's Sarvaloka Maheswaram. He's the Lord of all living entities. And Surya Sarva Bhutanam. He's the best friend of all the living entities. So the Prachitas are glorifying the Lord with these three words. They are, because they got this benediction even without asking for it. And the Prachitas, the 10 Prachita brothers are very, very boasted and very happy to achieve this benediction. And they are glorifying the Lord with these three key words in this verse. So this peace formula, we know, Srila Prabhupada emphasized many times, to achieve peace in the whole material world, first we have to recognize that everything belongs to Krishna. And he's the Bhaktan Majantas. He's the enjoyer of all the sacrifices. And then he's Suharda Sarva Bhutanam, and the best well-wisher of all living entities. So everybody is given this space or the material opulence according to their quota, and one should not strive to enjoy somebody else's land. So if one understands this verse, there will be peace in the world. We see there's so much strife going on in the material world. Unless they apply this peace formula, and when they say everything belongs to Krishna, he is the main benefactor, and he is the supreme enjoyer. He is the best friend. Unless we recognize this point, there will be no peace in the world. So we can see that because the 10 Prachitas were very close friends, and also they have same goal, devotional service, and they're very of the same mentality. They were very pleased. The Lord was very pleased, and he gave them this benediction. So to achieve, even in a material life, in a relationship, one has to have this mentality of working harmoniously with everyone. There are so many conflicts going on. We might have differences, but unless we have the Purushartha goal, the love of Godhead in our mind, and we can sort out our differences because of this same goal, and we have a similar friendly relationship, a lot of differences in the material world can be overcome. So this is a very important point that the Prachitas are stating, that because you have the great friendship, similar goal, and harmonious relation, the Lord is giving this benediction. So in material life, even in the family, among siblings, wife, husband, friends, different at work site, if we have applied this principle, working harmoniously with similar goal, then a lot of differences can be sorted out, and the Lord will be pleased, and He all can give a similar benediction. The next point in this verse, very important point, is that the Lord appeared to them in person. So surely the Lord is a person, although the Mayavadis like to disagree, and they berate the Lord by saying they want to merge the Lord. But here the Lord appeared out of his own will, in a very transcendental form, with 8 hands, carrying different weapons, wearing yellow garments, and very slightly, very nicely. So the Lord is a person. So that's one of the main points here. I mean, in Bhagavatam, we see the Lord appearing in person in so many times. But here the Lord is appearing without the Prachitas asking for it. So in this point, Srila Prabhupada mentioned so many times that we should not hanker to see the Lord. We should do our activities in such a way the Lord become pleased with us and He give His presence become visible to us of His own causeless mercy. So sometimes the non-devotees ask very pointed question and say, "Show me God." But then Srila Prabhupada says, "What is your qualification?" If one does devotional service sincerely, and the Lord become very pleased, the Lord will Himself appear to the devotee. It's not we can't force the Lord. The Lord comes at His own will, His sweet will. And when He sees the devotees, they are very, very sincere in their prayers, in their devotional life, then the Lord appears in presence to them without asking for it. So this is a very important point. The Lord appears to the Prachitas without being asked to, without giving them darshan without being asked, and because the Lord is very pleased. So this is a very important point. Then we see that Prachitas are awestruck. They cannot speak because they start Gadgadaya in a very faltering voice. These Prachitas are offering prayers. So you can just imagine the Prachitas just came out of the water after 10,000 years. Then they see the Lord coming on his Garuda carrier, and it's very effulgent, and they were just awestruck, and they were seeing the Lord and became extremely happy. But they want to offer praise, but they are unable instantly because of the great ecstasy they're feeling. So they get with faltering voice. The Prachitas are offering praise. It's the first of the praise. Then they will offer more praise later on. We see also in the case of Dhruva Maharaj, when he saw the Lord, he also could not speak properly. And the Lord, Dhruva Maharaj was only 5 years old. So the Lord touched the forehead of Dhruva Maharaj with his conch shell, and the Dhruva Maharaj became very knowledgeable when he started offering very, very, very exalted praise. So the Lord here, in Dhruva Maharaj's case, the Dhruva Maharaj some ulterior motive, so he was praying, but the Lord appeared to him because his sincere praise and by the instruction of Narad Muni. So then Srila Prabhupada in his purport further explains that when the Lord appeared, all the misconception, all the material misunderstanding, whatever things was left with the Prachitas is completely disappeared. And the Prabhupada is saying, just like sun appears and all the darkness disappears, similarly when the Lord appears in presence, all the any small things of material contaminants that are left of the Prachitas completely disappeared. So Lord presence is very, very auspicious. We see this in the battle between the Devas and the Danus. And when the Bali Maharaj's demonic force attacked Indra, and they were doing all these magical spells, and Indra and his soldiers had no recourse. They were completely baffled by the illusion created by Bali Maharaj and his soldiers. And then they prayed to the Lord, and the Lord appeared. Just when the Lord appeared, just by his presence, all the illusion created by the Danavas, headed by Bali Maharaj, just disappeared. He says all the attacks, different weapons, illusory weapons that were created by the Danavas, completely disappeared just by the presence of the Lord. So presence of the Lord is extremely, extremely auspicious. Just by his presence, everything becomes auspicious. So we see in the temple, we have deities. One we serve the deities very nicely. It creates such a nice environment where everything becomes so auspicious. Even at home, we do deity worship just by the presence of the deities, or Radha Krishna, or Gaurita, Jagannath, Subhadra, Giraj. Everything becomes auspicious, and the house becomes like a temple. So even sometimes the outside material people also acknowledge this. I have a personal experience. I had a very nice business person, Chinese friend. He came to my place one time just to visit me. And just he entered the house and said, he told me personally, oh, I feel so much peace, so nice. This environment is so conducive. I mean, I never expected him to say that, but we might not feel it because we are so accustomed. But when some outside person comes and he enters somebody, a devotee's house, they can feel the different vibration. And because the Lord is present, so in a small way, we can also experience this, what the Prachita said, although we are not that level, it is a fact, but we might not be able to perceive it. Sometimes we go to somebody's place or enter somebody's house or enter a different temple, we can feel different vibes. I mean, I have seen so many people coming to Radhagiri temple and saying they will feel extremely peaceful here. As they call me uncle. Uncle, when I came here, I was so peaceful. I never felt like this before. Because the atmosphere of the Lord creates, where he resides, where the Bhagavatam resides, where the devotees are chanting, where his glorification is going on, where there's Tulsi, where the very, very opulent katha is going on, very opulent prasadam being distributed. The Lord is there, and the person and the place became very auspicious, very effulgent. So this is the fact. So the Prachetas completely, whatever the misgiving they had, completely dissipated just by the presence of the Lord. So this is a very important point. So then there's another point Srila Prabhupada makes, that the Lord's name and the Lord's presence and himself are non-different. This is, of course, a standard is called our Parampara understanding. There's no difference between the holy name and the name himself, and the Lord Paraphernalia, Lord Katha, Lord glorification. There's no different and absolute plane. So Prabhupada is saying that Prachetas offer these prayers, and they were, and by the presence of the Lord, everything became auspicious. All the contamination disappeared. So Prabhupada making a very important point that just in the Kali Yuga, the Lord is coming in his name. Kali Kale, Nam Rupa Krishna Avatar. Just by his presence, there's no difference between the Lord, personal appearance, and the Lord's holy name. You know, when Prabhupada saying, mention Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. All the misgivings within the heart disappears. And the Prabhupada quotes this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. Just read this. In as evidence of this name, the name and the name and the Lord, there's no difference. This is a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2, verse number 17. Shavatam Sakratha Krishna, Punya Shavadam Kirtana, Hidayanta Astohi Abdhani, Vidho Nati Swatsatam. Translation of Prabhupada by Srila Prabhupada. Sri Krishna, the person of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, super soul in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of truthful devotee, cleanses the desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee, who has developed the urge to hear messages which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. So the Lord within the heart, he is everyone's well-wisher, benefactor, who for the truthful devotee. Prabhupada makes this point, benefactor of the truthful devotee. And when somebody chants his prayers, he says, the desire for material enjoyment become vanquished or cleanses from the heart. What are the qualifications? The devotee has an urge to hear this message of his glorification. His message are very virtuous and very properly heard and chanted. So in the purpose, Srila Prabhupada is mentioning, the message of the person of Godhead, Krishna, are non-different from him. Whenever, therefore, offenseless cheering and glorification of God are undertaken, it is understood that Lord Krishna is present there in the form of transcendental sound, which is as powerful as the Lord personally. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his Sasaka declares clearly that the holy name of the Lord has all the potency of the Lord, and that he has endowed his innumerable names with the same potency. There's no rigid fixture of time, and anyone can chant the holy name with attention and reverence at his convenience. The Lord is so kind to us that he can be present before us personally in the form of transcendental sound, but unfortunately we have no taste for hearing and glorifying the Lord's name and activity. So here in the, we know from Sistatika, Nam Namakari Bahudani Yasarab Shakti, Tatra Pitani Anita, Smarani Kala, Petra the Sitabakipa Bhagavan Mamapi, Dudidam, Vidisham, and Nanda Vraja. The Lord has innumerable names. Okay, let me read the translation. Oh my Lord, your holy name alone can render all benediction to all living beings. And thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you have invested all your transcendental energies. They are not even hard and fast tools for chanting this name. Oh my Lord, out of kindness, you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. So the Lord have multi names, hundreds of millions by Krishna and Govinda. And the Lord is so kind that he invested all his energies, his potencies in these names. So there's no difference between the Lord and his name. So much so that in the Kali Yuga, because the Lord is appearing in his name, Kali Kale, Nam Krishna Avatar, the Lord has made it very easy for all the living entities to get his presence by chanting his name, because these names are so much full of his potencies, one can easily approach him by these names. But here in this cycle, Lord Chaitanya says he's putting us in a position for a material person like me. And so, because I've given all these names, you can easily approach you, or you can also easily approach me by these names, but I have no taste for these holy names. So this is our disqualification. The Lord has made it very easy for us to approach him to the holy name, but in Kali Yuga, we find even that such an easy step to approach him become very, very difficult because we don't have a taste. So this is the mercy of the Lord. The Lord and his name are no different. So Srila Prabhupada is mentioning that just by chanting the mantras, Hare Krishna mantra, all the misgivings, all the misunderstanding, all the material contamination within the heart disappears. Maybe it's a gradual process, but one who is sincere, who is trustworthy, who tries very, very hard, sincerely, then all this change will come, there will be transformation. From all the analysis disappear, and slowly, all the good qualities of a devotee will manifest in the heart of the devotee who tries this very sincerely. So very, very important point. The Lord and his names are non-different. The Prabhupada is saying, although the Prachitas offer so many wonderful prayers, and they got all this benediction, a devotee, sincere devotee, can also achieve same thing in Kali Yuga by chanting the Lord's holy name, which are non-different from the Lord himself. So Lord is a person, and he's giving this benediction to the Prachitas. So just try to wrap up some of the important points or takeaways from today's verse. We see first the Prachitas glorify the Lord. It's the best, the Lord, Supreme Lord, who is present before them, personally, face to face, as Prabhupada say in the translation. The Lord was there face to face. And the Prachitas saying that the Lord is the best benefactor, best of all success, supreme benefactor, and supreme friend. So these three important points are there, and we can elaborate more on this. And being best friend, we know the example of Arjun, because he was completely non-envious, and also the intimate friend of Krishna. He became qualified to hear Bhagavad Gita as it is. So these are three important factors from takeaway. The Lord is supreme friend, supreme benefactor, and best of all success. The second important takeaway from this is that just like the practices which are devotees need not desire to see the Lord, not necessarily to have his own direct darshan, but if a devotee becomes qualified by his service, by his devotion, Lord give darshan to the devotee without asking for it. So in this case of Prachitas, they see the Lord even without asking for it. because they had become qualified to see the Lord in person. So to see the Lord personally is to have this pre-qualification, have an intense desire to serve the Lord unconditionally. Then the Lord become happy and manifest himself. Then another important point is the Lord is a person. The Prachetas saw the Lord face to face. Of course, this is the main theme of the Bhagavatam. The Lord is a person, and Prabhupada has poured millions of gallons of his writing to dissipate this misconception. The Lord is impersonal. So here, another example, Prabhupada gives evidence that Prachetas saw the Lord face to face. It's a very important point. And then the fourth point is that just by the presence of the Lord, who is not different from his holy, all the misgivings, all the contamination just dissipates. Just like Prabhupada gives information, because the Lord is not different from his name. Same thing can happen when a devotee chants the holy name of the Lord very sincerely. So, 4 important points. Lord is a best well-wisher, best benefactor, and the best friend. The Lord is a person. One does not need to hanker to have a darshan of the Lord personally, but one who becomes intensely, one who has a desire to serve the Lord intensely without any material hankering. The Lord, just by his own mercy, gives darshan to the person. And then when the Lord comes face to face with the Lord, everything, misgiving, all the contamination just disappears. And then the Lord is a person. So these are 5 important points from today's verse. So I'll end here. Sorry for my sort of fast speaking. I was trying this time I'll speak a bit slowly, but it's not happening. So thank you very much for listening. I'd like any clarification, and please we can have a discussion. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Nanda Vraja.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Nanda Vraja, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Such a nice explanation of the text. Very deeply dig out to understand the meaning, which is very much similar to Bhagavad Gita 5:29. Bhaktaram Jagnata Pasham Sarvaloko Maheshwaram Turitam Sarvabhutanam Gyadvamam Shantiruchit. So this is actually almost similar to this one. And you have explained the most important thing which we used to know, Pancham Purushartha. That is what the new thing I came to know. Yes, we know all 4 Purushartha, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. But what is that Param Purushartha? That is one of the very important point to understand. That is actually spontaneous love for Krishna. That is what Krishna Chaitanya Charitamrita reciprocates to us. And even in Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita also, today's reading is the same thing, just resembling as that lady, that is Govinda Dashi, was asking a question to Srila Prabhupada, and Srila Prabhupada said that I just read it. He, Lord Chaitanya, he was the greatest symbol of Krishna Bhakti, a devotee of Krishna. So just see from his life, he was never said, I have seen Krishna, never said, I have seen Krishna. So our madness should be for Krishna, for satisfying the Krishna and filling the Krishna. Not important to see Krishna himself. If we do our uh, devotional activities in the right consciousness and right perspective under the guidance of Srila Prabhupada, obviously we are going to get that benefit. We don't need to hanker after to see the Lord in person. The things will automatically happen, and we can experience that, as you mentioned in your experience. Somebody visited your house and he expressed his happiness and feelings. There's a different feeling at your house. That is what actually Krishna consciousness spreads around. So it gives us the real benefit when one enters in devotee's heart, they feel the difference. Similarly, when we visit our temple, we have the same feeling. So that feeling actually is the auspiciousness that is spread around when Lord is present himself. So we don't need to see the Lord in person. So that is one of the things Lord is Srila Prabhupada is trying to tell us. By doing our activities, we can see the Lord through our heart. As 2.1.2.20 says, Evam Prasanna Manaso Bhavad, sorry, Bhagavad Bhakti Yogata Bhagavad Tattva Vijnana Mukta Sangha Jayate. So if we do all these things, Lord will present in our heart and we can see the Lord face to face through our heart. So that feeling also says the same thing. We don't need the Lord to see in person. We should not ask the Lord to present before us. We do the activity, we follow his instruction, he will automatically reflect in our heart. So, and when Lord appears, everything become auspicious. That feeling we have experienced, all the devotees we have, when sincerely chants the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, it really changes the whole atmosphere. That's why in Kalikal, this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is the only medicine to come out of this material affection of life, and we can become attached to the Lord activities and try to make our life toward the supreme goal. So you have nicely explained with so much examples how Dhruva Maharaj also was astonished when he saw uh, Lord in presence. He was totally, what should I say?
Oh, stuck.
Yeah. So he didn't understand what to ask for. So this is the benediction and this is the Lord's, the real benediction we get when the Lord, we follow the Lord in practice and follow his instruction. Everything fall in place. So that was the understanding from my side. Thank you so much.
Thank you for summarizing a very nice connection between what we read in Prabhupada Lamitra and today's verse.
Yeah, that was actually exactly matching what the text is today.
Thank you. Thank you for linking that. I also missed that point.
Right.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, doesn't seem to be. So,
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat
Hare
Pranam.
Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for the very nice class, particularly this realization that you told that when someone goes to a place, temple where the Lord is present, they can realize the presence of the Lord who has got a heart to realize it. And this happens normally when a person is in a Shuddha stage. His mind is clear, he can get the message what the Lord is sending. I can well remember the small incidents of my life. When I was in when I was very small, we had a separate deity room. And when we were very small at the time, when we entered the temple, when we entered there, we had the presence of the Lord was there. And after about 25 years, when I had been in Orissa at a different occasion, at the time, someone invited me to their place, and one Babaji is there, and he told me to go to this place. When I went there, just when I entered the temple, it just reminded me my old days when I was very small at the time. We entered our temple, the same feeling came to me that yes, the Lord is here. So the Lord's presence is not by seeing only, it has to be realized from the heart. And often Prabhupada has told one has to realize the Lord through hearing. Hearing the Lord enters into our heart and we can realize it. That is the realization of the Lord, and not by seeing what most of the materialists wants to establish, that I can't see it with my own eyes. Prabhupada has told you have no qualification. Once you acquire the qualification, the Lord will appear in your heart. And that is the seeing the Lord, and seeing not by eyes, but from the core of our heart. And that you have pointed out very nicely. Thank you for that, Prabhu.
Thank you very much. Very nice point.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji. How are you?
Thank you very much.
Prabhuji, just a quick clarification I would need.
Mm.
When we go to the temple here,
Mm.
and sometimes the curtains are closed. So are
Yeah.
we supposed to go down, do our pranam, or we are not supposed to do pranam? Because I
think
was
we are-
told by someone that when the curtains are closed, deities are not there, so you're not supposed to do pranam. You know, it's impersonalist.
Yes, that is correct, Prabhu. Normally, because the deity are resting, because the deity is resting, then if you do pranam, deity might like to reciprocate. So you are disturbing a lot. But when you go, we can do pranam to Srila Prabhupada. Normally, that's what I do. And we can also meditate on the deity resting, because when the deity is rested, like after 12:30, 12 o'clock, the 12:30 is the offering. It comes out, and then 12:30 to 1 o'clock, the Aarti takes place. After Aarti, the Lord is given rest. They put a special bed, do the prayers, and offer small water and some sweets, and we're requesting the Lord to rest. So the Lord is resting, just like if you are sleeping and somebody comes outside your door, and even without knocking, somebody, then your sleep might be disturbed. So it's just the reciprocation. Although the Lord is present everywhere, it's not proper to disturb him by offering prayers like this. So we can also offer prayer within the heart. Jen Hare Krishna. I think that is what I also learned from other devotees. So even when you go to temple, it says in Nectar Devotion, to offer pranam to another devotee or even to a spiritual master and presence of the Lord is an offense. The Lord is there, we are doing somebody, although it's Lord's servant, it's not proper to offer obeisances in front of the deity, you know. So even talking nonsense in front of the deity, so many offenses are there. So we should be very aware of these things and try and minimize this. Thank you, Prabhu, for clarification.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, also the Lord's, even the devotees' samadhis are very, very powerful. The devotees are already present there. When I remember once we went to Vrindavan and we were visiting Srila Prabhupada Bhajan Kutir, where he used to do a translation next to the Srila Rupa Goswami Samadhi. And my godbrother Bhimsen Prabhu, the Pujari asked him to lead the Guru Puja. And as soon as he started, he became so overwhelmed. He started crying and he couldn't carry on. I mean, just because the presence of the devotees there is so powerful, so purifying. Same thing, all the samadhis, Rupa Goswami, Rupa Goswami, Prabhupada Samadhi, and so many samadhis, when you go and pray the office, you can feel the difference. I mean, the devotees are present there, although they are with the Radharani, and we can see it from Prabhupada Lilamrita. When Prabhupada was translating his first canto in the Damodar temple, Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada used to visit him. So these are very, very powerful places, all the holy places. You can feel the vibration, as they call it. So it's yes. But the Lord's names, Lord person, Lord devotees, His paraphernalia, His glorification, name, all these are non-different. It's absolute and absolute plain. One has to be perceptive, because we are so used to visiting temple, is there, but we become not immune, but we don't perceive, because we already there. So, but from outsiders who come, they got carrying so many different baggages of different karma reaction. Then when they completely feel the presence by feeling very aesthetic or being very peaceful. So they can feel it differently. Yeah, so this is true. Thank you, Prabhu, for sharing this. Hare Krishna. So we are running a bit over time. If no other comments, we can wrap up here. Okay, thank you very much, everyone, for listening and for your presence and your tolerance. Thank you. Vanchakarpadharuvesya.
पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय।
His
श्रीला
grace.
प्रभुपाद की जय। नंद प्रभु की जय। गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि
Hari Hari
हरि।
Bol.
All glories to the assembled devotees.